think you were going to make it here, considering you held the WSOF title before?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't think you're going to get to this point, you probably aren't. So the confidence level was definitely there. It was just having everything play out the right way and avoid injuries. I knew that injury was the only way I wouldn't be here, honestly. So.
Do you think the format, the season format of this promotion helped in progressing your skill level and evolve as a mixed martial artist?
Definitely. I feel that being more active more than anything else has helped. And when you're not active, you get stagnant. And with WSOF, I would only fight once or twice a year. So being able to fight 4 times and going on 5 within a 6-month period, it's really good for my learning curve and everything else, and it's been great.
How's your hands been? I know you had issues.
Yeah, everything's been really good. Yep.
Cool. That's it for me.
Cool.
How's it feel to be rematching Steven Siler after quite some time? He's a much different fighter than when he fought you in WSOF.
So am I.
Yep. What are you going to bring differently to this fight as opposed to the last fight, even though you won it?
Yeah, I mean, I feel even though I won that fight, that wasn't one of my best performances. And even though I almost finished him twice in that fight, it wasn't one of my best performances. So that was probably, 80% of what I was last year. And coming in at 100% this year with the new skill set and new coaching and everything else I've had over the last year, it's going to be a lot different Lance Palmer that you're going to see too. So everybody puts that emphasis that he's a different fighter than he was a year ago, but so am I. I've improved tenfold, so hopefully he can hang in there.
What did he say to you at the face-off? He said something to you yesterday.
He said he can't keep a straight face during a face-off. He's like the nicest guy ever. Yeah. He really is. We have a good relationship. I've known him for years. He fought my old teammate Chad Mendez back in the day at Tachi Palace fights. In the beginning of Chad's career. So, I mean, I've known him for a really long time. We had mutual friends in Utah. He trained with Ramsey Nijum, who's a really good friend of mine. So all those guys we've been friends with and we've known for years and years. So Steven Siler isn't somebody that's new to me just as an opponent. I've known him since way before I fought him last year. We have the same manager. Like, we've known each other for a while and we have a decent relationship. So obviously, we're cordial, but when it comes to fight night, we're going to throw down.
Steve, so being that the two of you know each other as well as you do, is there even a glimmer of a chance that he can pull something out to totally surprise you?
I mean, anything can happen in a fight. You just have to be prepared for everything. So, I mean, he's a dangerous fighter. He's always working, and I mean, the things that have happened during this season for him have been crazy. So anything less than crazy wouldn't be, anything can happen in there. So I'm not really set on one thing going down in this fight. I'm prepared for everything, just like I was last time we fought, because he's not afraid to throw anything. I think when I dropped him in the last fight, it was after he tried to throw a spinning back fist or a jump knee or something. So he throws everything in there, and you have to be prepared for it all.
Now, is there anything during the course of the season that surprised you in general?
As far as for me or in general?
Overall.
Honestly, the way that the semifinal played out when Almeida kicked Siler in the chest or chin or whatever it ended up being, and then that fight went to a decision right from there. That was kind of weird. I didn't know if it was just going to be like a no contest or whatever, since they were only in the second round of 3. I didn't know how that was going to play out, but because I didn't really watch the fight, I was still in the back doing all my stuff after. So that was the only weird thing for me, honestly, because actually, no, there was some stuff that happened in Chicago with a couple of the other fighters at lightweight as well, and it kind of played out really weird with that commission and the point system, where it happened in the second round, but since he didn't come out for the third round, they gave the points of a third round finish. So some things like that for the point system, I think, need to be ironed out or done in a different state, because Illinois has certain ways they consider finishes and not finishes. So I think that was the only thing that was probably controversial for some of the guys who fought on those cards. because I was at that fight as a guest fighter, and there was some weird things that happened in Chicago. But other than that, I think everything played out perfectly, and I think the playoff system and the point system is great. I heard a few people talking on some podcasts on how they don't agree with the point differences for a third and first round finish, and they think that the finish should be a finish in the same points. But I agree that first round finishes should get more than that, because that's how else are you going to rank 8 guys in a bracket if you don't do it that way? It's just, I mean, that seems to me the best way to rank the system. So, but yeah, other than that, I think everything played out pretty smooth.
So, out of every possible breed, what's drawn you to American Bullies?
Just their drive. Honestly, we ended up getting one of the most high drive bullies I've ever known in my life, and he's awesome, and I love him. But he's really high drive. Like, you have to have a lot of energy, and you have to have him on a schedule, or he's just like running rampant, getting wild, tearing stuff up. So he's an awesome dog, but he gives my wife everything she can handle when I'm not there.
So in other words, when you go home after Monday, your house is going to be torn up?
No, he's at the kennel with. He's at the boarding kennel that we take him to when we're out of town, because my wife's here with me. But when I get home when we pick him up Wednesday morning after they open back up, he's going right back into the Lance obedience school. So.
Cool, thanks.
How do you plan?
You certainly don't strike me as someone who rests on his laurels, but after you defeated Andre Harrison, and you got that monkey off your back, so to speak, did you feel like coming out of that fight that it can't get any tougher from here in this tournament?
No, because I know each opponent brings a different thing to the table, just like Siler brings a different thing to the table from Harrison. I mean, when Siler and Harrison fought a while ago, they actually had a really good fight, and it was a 5-round fight in another organization. And Siler brings things to the table that most people don't, whether it's just unpredictability or his ability to take shots to the chin and come back. So even though I beat Harrison, that was just that chapter. That was nice to get that win and kind of get that. I'll never get that loss back. But the injuries that happened during that fight and things that their team kind of, over-exaggerated the excuses of it. And I was just, a loss is a loss, and I took that loss like a man, but I also fought with one hand that entire fight. So I wanted to get that one back, but that chapter was over, and then I knew it was either going to be Almeida or Siler in the final, and, that fight played out the way it did, and now it's Siler. So it's, people try to underestimate Siler, but he's a tough opponent.
And let's say things go the way that you had planned, and you're in the back. What are some of the fights that you're really looking forward to that you think that the fans are going to really enjoy in this?
Just in the finals in general.
Yes.
I think people are going to enjoy Vinny trying to get a finish in the first round, because he's had so many great fights this year, and he's had 4 fights in under 6 minutes, I think it is, or something. But him trying to get that first round finish, and to see if O'Connell can hold him off. And then the welterweight fight, definitely, because Ray Cooper has kind of had the underdog story and the history between his father and him and Jake Shields, and the way that he beat Jake Shields twice to even get here. So I think that's a good story. Even though I don't believe he was the underdog, I think he's a great fighter, and a lot of people just didn't know who he was, so he was perceived as the underdog. So I think those two would probably be 2 of the best fights. I mean, every finals fight is going to be really good, but I think those 2 would be really exciting for people to see.
And the last question for me would be, can you kind of sum up the differences between PFL and World Series of Fighting? What have been your impressions of PFL this year?
I think the main difference is just the professionalism of everything, and the way that they're doing it as a professional organization instead of it's a professional league instead of just a fight promotion. Because anybody can run a fight promotion and kind of keep it up just above water, but the way that it's been done, very professionally, things have been complete opposite from World Series of Fighting. So it doesn't really compare, honestly. It's hard to compare them.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
You spoke to the differences in your game since the first silent fight. What improvements have you seen in Steven's game since the first fight?
It's hard to tell because his very first fight of the season, he got dropped right away. And that guy's not very good on the ground, so he was able to get that finish right off of that. Second fight was a weird finish because Almeida didn't tap and he didn't go out, and the ref stopped that fight, so that was kind of weird too. The third fight against Malagari, I didn't really pay attention to that one just because I was fighting that same night. And then, he won the first round and then lost the second round, I believe, but the first round was the one who went on as long as it wasn't a 10-8. And then the fourth fight was kind of a controversial no contest kick to the face on the ground or whatever. So I know he's improved, it just hasn't really shown much in his fights, honestly.
Do you have any desire to go up in a different weight class for next year's season if you're invited back? If they offer to?
Yeah, we're invited back already, but no, 145 is my home. I feel comfortable here. The things that I'm doing nutritionally and strength and conditioning wise to have my body composition where it is perfect for 145. And if I was at 135, I'd be a small 135er height wise. I'm a small 145er height wise, so 155 I'd be a super small for height. So I think 45 is my home. I don't really have a reason to go up to 55 unless I gained a ton of mass, which I don't plan on doing.
How do you plan to celebrate New Year's in New York?
I don't know. I guess we have to be there the entire time of the fight, so I don't even know if we'll be there for the ball to drop. But I think it'd be cool to experience New York City a little bit, even if it's after midnight.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.